Morning.
Quick turnaround. How's the squad looking?
Well, we'll know more today once we've seen the players train. All the players had was a recovery session yesterday, so just getting back and gathering everybody back together.
Having the opportunity to watch it back, I'm sure you have. Is there a positive from the match that it wasn't a terrible performance? It was just a match littered with individual errors.
Yeah, I think you've summed it up quite well. I think it was a game where you can always make individual errors as a player. I've been one, so and made probably plenty of them, but you don't expect so many in one night, and it added to the way the game went. But look, it's gone now. We've spoke to the players about it. They're well versed in what we thought about it, so we don't need to say any more about it now.
You said to me on Tuesday that the players have to earn this shirt, this proud shirt. Some didn't really, did they? They let themselves down on Wednesday. In that sense, do you think you might make a few changes ahead of the Fulham game?
Well, I'll tell you one thing about the group of players we've got there. Fantastic lads, great boys, really honest, committed. Have done a brilliant job over the last few seasons for us, and the way they've worked and the results they've got. So expect the same from them. Doesn't change. They've suddenly not become bad players. But as I said, you can make the odd individual mistake. That happens in football.
I was listening to your post-match on Wednesday, and you're saying I've left jobs in the past. Were you thinking there might be a call or potential chats with the board after that?
No. We're just trying to make a point that we're in an industry where you can quite easily lose your job. That's the way it happens, and if you're not winning, then it's always possible. So, I'm no different from anybody else, and just got to get on with the job and try and win the next game.
The reports that these next matches must not lose, but as a manager,
you
probably think that all the time, don't you?
Well, I think it might have been you who said Everton was must not lose, we won that one. Then I think you might have been the one who said Notts Forest was must not lose, and we won that one. Then it was Southampton. I think you said that as well, and we had to win at Southampton. So when you've put that title on us, we've stood up and been counted. If you're giving me that title again, then I hope we can stand up and be counted this time.
Yeah. It must be stressful though, mustn't it? It is stressful, isn't it? I was watching you on Wednesday, and do you think sometimes, do I really need this? When you go home, the nights, the mornings, it must be so difficult at times.
Yeah, of course I need it. This is like a drug. This is why you see, Roy Hodgson coming back when he's 75, and Neil Warnock coming back, and so many people who are in the game, and the journey they're on. They continue to stay on it because they've got a great love of the game and they want to stay in it. But part of being a football manager is that you don't always win all the time. Sometimes you have to lose, and you have to try and learn to deal with it. And when you do lose, then you've got to learn how to bounce back. So we're looking forward to trying to bounce back in our next game. Excuse me.
I was really interested in what you said about the fans leaving. You said, I would have left as well. But do you feel as if you've got something to sort of say in the sense that you set these high standards as well? When I've listened to you in the past, you talk about Europe every year. West Ham are a big club, don't get me wrong, but they're not being in Europe every year. You're saying that. So do you think you're setting these high standards yourself at times, aren't you?
Well, I think managers' jobs is to raise expectations. So I think we've raised the expectations. I think any manager who goes to any club, you have to do that. And then you have to live with the raised expectations. Well, we've not sort of lived with this year's raised expectations as well as we should have done. But have we raised the expectations here over the last few years? I would think so. But I can totally understand the supporters, no problem at all. There was a night where we made mistakes, and I think that they recognised it as well. I think any football supporter who'd been at the game would have recognised that there was individual mistakes on the night which were the biggest costly reason probably for us to lose the game the way we did.
And in that sense, you sound confident. You're confident you're going to turn this around with the game coming up tomorrow.
Totally.
Europe, and again, I know how much Europe means to you, but I'm interested in the sense that do you have to maybe change your thinking ahead of Thursday if hypothetically it's a draw tomorrow and if Arsenal the weekend? Do you have to maybe look at the team differently a bit now? Because you can't really enjoy might be the wrong word. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Look, we're really enjoying being in Europe. It's a great thing and it's a great achievement. To finish 7th last year and 6th the year before meant that we were able to be in the European competitions. Last year we reached the semi-final. I'm hoping that we can get to a final. But always we've got the Premier League games. Now, the recent couple of years we've been in strong league positions. No problem with the bottom of the league. This year we've got a bigger problem with the bottom of the league. League, so that has got an effect on our thinking. And the teams who are going to qualify this year in Europe, they'll find it next year. The teams who've got the Thursday, Sunday games, you'll see what it does to them as well. It's very, very difficult to be playing in Europe in midweek and then come back to playing your Premier League games. So ideally, we would get some good results which make those Thursday games a lot easier to handle.
From Moyes, I heard him Wednesday night, just heard Aaron Cresswell speak very highly of you, how much they love working for you. I know you don't need pats on the back, David, but it is nice to hear that.
Well, I think the reason what I said right at the start is they're really good lads, good players. They set really good standards. They have done over the years, and they've been really good to me. But I hope in some way that I've been good to them as well, and in as much as that they've had a couple of good years as well. So we've got to build on it. Aaron Cresswell's a boy who sets really good examples. Led a lot from Mark Noble. Been here probably as long as MD at the club. So we've got a lot of players here who are telling them what the expectations are and what we're trying to do.
Two quick ones from me. It's for fans who probably have seen other clubs elsewhere making changes. Do you have a message for them in terms of the fans ahead of the next few games? No message
for fans at other clubs if their bosses are making changes. That's the bosses are entitled to do exactly what they want. You know, they can make their own decisions, and that's part of football. And you know, it's becoming quite regular at the moment. I think the amount of changes in the Premier this season is probably the most there's ever been, as far as I know. So.
Sorry, I meant the fans here, your fans.
Yeah. Well, West Ham fans have been fine. They've been treated some really good times in recent. We had some great nights in Seville, and you know I can remember the nights in Lyon with them. So the games at home. So we've had some great times. But yeah, it's difficult at the moment. But this is when we need everybody to get behind it and stick with it.
Finally, great night last night, London Stadium.
Fantastic. Young players got to the final of the FA Youth Cup, which for you know, MD who's been a footballer and played would tell you how prestigious it is to get to the sort of the FA Youth Cup final. And no, the boys are doing really well. I mean, it's showing that you know there's a development programme in place which is coming through. We hope that we can continue to build on it. In fact, I hope we can make it much bigger in the future going forward. That would be, I think, this side of London's got great potential. Lots of boys and girls who play football, and I hope we can continue on it. But it's great for the boys last night, and they won the game well. It's great that there was a really good crowd came to watch it as well.
Thanks, David.
Charlie?
David, just going back to Wednesday, you asked post-match about the defending for the goals and that third goal in particular, and you said it was unacceptable. What are your thoughts on your defenders playing out from the back, having the ball at their feet? In that situation, would you rather them just clear the ball?
No, I'd rather them try and play well. We've tried to encourage, we've tried to do it better. But you know, when you do that, players can make mistakes, and I said that on the night. Everybody's human, will make mistakes all the time. Not all the time, but some of the time you'll make them. But if it's happening regular, then it's a problem. If it's happening the odd time, then you can say this can happen. I look back to the greats in the Premier League. You know, who are the great centre halves? John Terry, maybe Rio Ferdinand. You know, Vidic. You know, off the top of my head, I don't know if I could think of them making too many mistakes. I'm sure they did. Maybe get caught out on other things, but I don't think the really top central defenders get themselves in positions where they get caught out too often.
And looking ahead to Fulham, they've lost their last 3 Premier games. What kind of test are you expecting with no Marco Silva on the touchline?
Well, I think we're finding is, you know, the managers are getting sent off a bit more often for different reasons, whether they don't think the refereeing's good enough or whether we're too exuberant or whatever it may be. But I think it's something which, you know, the clubs are used to now. So I don't see that having a big change in how he prepares. He'd probably be sitting upstairs, mic'd up, you know, can speak to people. So I don't see that being a huge problem nowadays. And we just got on and we take the game as it is.
No Alexander Mitrovic in the team as well on Saturday. How different of a team do you think Fulham are when he isn't in the squad?
Well, I couldn't tell you much about Fulham as their squad, but I can tell you about Mitrovic as a player and what he's done for Fulham, and he's done amazing. His goals he scored in the Championship last season was incredible, and to be fair, I think they had a season in the Premier League before that where he maybe didn't get quite as much, but he hasn't half gone on and shown that he can do it in the Premier League. So I'm sure it'll be a huge blow to Fulham. If it was us, I think we'd be saying it's a huge blow to us. But again, it's more of a question for Marco Silva than it is for me, really.